there's a lot of difference when you sign the back of the check versus when you sign the front of the check.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
That's funny. Oh, not much. What about you?
You know, just life is good. I mean, we are just working away at this event on August 21st, which lot of energy going into this thing, but great. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a ton of fun. Thanks, sir.
Absolutely. At Sandler Center, August 21st evening. Speaking of venues, I saw this thing crawling in the local headlines recently about some guy, and I guess the storyline is guy with no credibility, no experience, no opportunity, or season opportunity. He's going to be the one to create the Virginia Beach arena. Have you seen this story?
No, I've not.
I hope it's true. I hope it happens, obviously, but like it's just crazy. Like he's been on like I first saw it from a Richmond thing. And he built a website. He got some AI generated thing because apparently he went to a comedian show, Nate B. Can't pronounce his last name, at the old Scope Arena, the old 4,000 person arena. He's like, I want to see Beyonce or something like that, but she can't come here because we don't have a big enough venue. So he's going to be the guy to create it. I wish him well. I hope he does it.
Wow.
Yeah. You do not know today's guest, correct?
I don't, but I do look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely.
I like talking money.
Yeah, money's good. Oh, money. Today's guest is someone that I've known for
Many, many, many years.
many years. And
how'd you guys meet?
Eric? Did you know Eric then, or did I?
No, I think I met Eric there, dude. I think was it Derek Hulser? Was it he was an attorney that worked with a couple of the people over there.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was.
Did I know you? Did I know you before you went on Hampton Roads Business Weekly?
I don't know.
I feel like I would have.
Yeah, and then it was around the time also when I got the top 40 under 40 in Hampton Roads, and I don't know. It's been probably like 15 years, dude.
How old are you now?
I'm about to be 48 in August 6th.
Yeah, man.
Soon to be happy birthday. You don't look 48. You look pretty good for 48.
Oh,
yeah, man.
You stop
I never would have guessed.
Dude, my oldest just graduated JMU. She's starting to work for me. We actually have a meeting tomorrow, go over her contract and everything.
Did you say JMU or GMU?
JMU, James Madison.
Yeah. She just graduated?
Yeah, in May.
Yeah, my daughter did as well. From
That's
JMU.
hilarious, dude. This year?
Yep.
That's awesome. What did she study?
She majored in communications with a minor in sports marketing.
Nice.
So she's up working with the Washington Nationals right now. So that's she's enjoying
awesome.
that. Yeah.
That's pretty fantastic.
How about your daughter?
She did business and then ended up doing digital marketing and marketing.
Oh, cool.
And that's kind of what she's going to be doing for Squire, is really helping all the stuff that we've gotten done, relationships and everything. It's been awesome. So it's great to, anytime that your kid goes, hey, Dad, I want to, work with you because of the work that you do. I'm like,
yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, do you pay her the way that first out of school rookie
should
get paid, or you pay her a little bit better? Because
no, I don't. Listen, it's business is business. She's got to learn. She's got to earn. She's got to figure everything out. So it's starting salary that's competitive, like 40, 42 or whatever, and then 90-day review, and then 180-day review with potential increases in pay depending on work and everything. So I think that's the right thing to do. Just got to earn it just like anybody else.
All right. So anyone that is watching, they see your name on the screen, and I always like to
Danijel Velicki.
Do you think that? So is like How hard, like when you were a kid, was it easy for you to learn how to pronounce your name and everything? Was it ever like a stumble? Like, what was that like? I mean,
Well, pošto sam rođen u Hrvatskoj, mi normalno smo razgovarali ovako, onda normalno možeš reći Danijel Velicki. But when you're in English, it's a little different when you start, throwing the J. So, Croatian alphabet is and I don't know, Tim, if you knew, I'm born and raised and stuff in Croatia. So I came to America as a foreign exchange student back in 95. So, Croatian is extremely phonetic language. So our alphabet is A, B, C, D, F. So if you spell Zak, it will be Z, I would say Zak, Z-A-K, but that's how you say the letters. So our J is Y, so it's Daniel. It's not a J or a H like in, Spanish. So in our language, it's just Danijel Velicki. It's just normal. So I had no trouble pronouncing my name. But I love the freaking question, Zach.
Well, I feel like I just call you DV so I can never mess it up.
I know. Dude, that's what Melissa, we just celebrated 24 years of marriage. And whenever, we moved here from West Virginia, where, Zach went to WVU. I took a couple of classes there. I graduated from Fairmont State University, down like 10 minutes south. But so she's from Parkersburg, which is like right on the Ohio border. And so when she was Melissa Marie McGinnis. I was like, dude, I'll take McGinnis. It's so much better than Velicki. Like, this is such a great name. And now she went to Melissa Marie Velicki. But to your point, when she was a teacher, all the kids would call her Miss V because they could never pronounce Velicki. So she was always Miss V, Miss V. It's awesome. Man.
So did you know how to speak English when you moved here?
Yeah. So I don't know why, but I had this like almost destiny kind of feeling when I was 7. There were 2 girls that lived in our village where my grandparents lived, because I was spend summers there, and they were from Australia. And I told them at 7 that I was to speak to me in English because one day I was going to be in America. And fast forward, when Melissa and I, we travel back to Croatia all the time, that we actually got to see them as, we were grown-ups, and they were visiting their grandma, I was visiting my grandma. And they told Melissa that story, that whenever, they were like 8 and 10 and I was 7, that I told them they remembered speaking English for the whole summer because I need to learn English because I want to be in America one day. So I don't know how I had this thing that I either wanted to and just made it happen, but it was always kind of a thing. So I was fluent in English. I was fluent in German, French when I came to the United States. So it was just, languages were easy for me. Plus I went to high school for tourism and hotel management back home. So we had a lot of languages.
Wow. Okay. And obviously business is a language in itself.
And money is a universal language as well.
Or lack thereof language.
Right, but before we get into
I feel like it's Esperanto. Like nobody really knows, but it's there.
All right. So before we get into the business of business, you experienced some time in Morgantown in West Virginia, and
the best place ever.
So why would you let your daughter, why wouldn't you have your daughter go? It just seems like a missed opportunity there.
So see, it's funny. She wanted to. It was so. WVU,
if you get into JMU, you get into West Virginia. Let's be honest. Come on.
Yes, but that's out of state tuition too, Zach.
That's right.
And our deal was that Virginia has fantastic schools, right? So I was like, Mom and I, Melissa and I, put funds together to have school paid for, state school. I mean, we have. JMU, George Mason, William Mary, Virginia Tech, UVA, I know. Listen, I'm going to alienate so many people just by saying this because this is somewhat of a Hampton Roads innovation show. But one thing I told her, dude, you're killing me. One thing I told her, I was like, I'm not writing checks to Virginia Tech. Like I can't do it. I can do anybody else. I cannot do Virginia Tech. So, that was, Zach, my homage to West Virginia, right? Because I was like,
I didn't realize that ran so deep.
Oh my gosh, dude! When we were in school, like Virginia Tech showed up and burned our field like grass and stuff. I mean, we had it was a tough, long-standing, terrible rivalry.
Now they
I just
Yeah.
always thought it was a Zach thing. I didn't know that it was.
Oh, dude, if it's two schools, Ohio State and Virginia Tech. I don't know what, except for
and everyone hates Pitt, and not or like
it's a love hate really. We goof like I've never seen a fight at a Pitt WB game. I've always drank with Pitt people. Like we had a great time, and it was just this mutual respect. Like such a great place. Some of the best games that I've seen were at the Pitt Stadium, in Pittsburgh, and I don't know.
It's so beautiful coming out of that bridge or
Oh
that
my gosh,
tunnel
dude.
into the city.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that before. I'm sure,
Yeah.
Tim. But like over Three River Stadium or whatever. I don't know.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's one of the most iconic like arrivals possible, which is pretty.
You'll appreciate this, Zach. I was a speaker at a conference. It was May, and I was telling my story and how I ended up in West Virginia, and and then Tim, you don't know me, but I'm as metro as they come. I come from the center, 7 minutes walking from the main square in Croatia, which is Zagreb, which is the capital. So, I grew up going out all over the place. We would go to Vienna, we would go to Venice, we would go to all those places, and then I end up in West Virginia for student exchange program. And I can tell you that I told my story about West Virginia, and this lady afterwards, Zach, came to me. She didn't say anything and just hugged me. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I just appreciate you saying such great things about West Virginia, because anybody that ever mentioned my state, and she's from West Virginia, she's from Charleston, she was like, everybody just craps on it. And I was like, it was a biggest blessing in disguise, because I don't think if I landed there, I would have anywhere else but there. I would have had completely different life. Probably not here. The things that have happened in West Virginia that just made my life possible I don't think would have happened anywhere else. So I love the state. I love the people.
Yeah, West Virginia gets a really bad rep, and it's mostly from people who have never been there. Who hear about the cousins.
Right.
And, it's. I don't know. It's a great place. Like,
What brought you to Hampton Roads?
So nice.
So after graduating, I interviewed. I got into finance because I really, I wanted to be a doctor, but I figured out I didn't have the money or the time to do that. And then I was like, well, finance helps people not get bad health, or bad health can cause bad finance too. That they're deeply connected. So I got into finance major and marketing. So I got double major graduation, and then interviewed with Merrill Lynch, UBS, all kinds of schools up in Pittsburgh, and everybody just told me what kind of sales I'm going to be making, what kind of calls I'm going to be making. They give you the yellow pages, the white pages back in the day for you young people. And it was just all about commissions and all about sales. And I was like, I've been helped so much through school, through working, through, meeting my wife there. I was like, I want to give back. I don't want to sell. So I completely quit the financial industry and took a job with 7-Eleven, because they were just like Enterprise or any of those places that, recruit heavily at all the campuses. They're like, hey, we have this management consultant position, and you can pick Pittsburgh or Virginia Beach. And Melissa and I, we were together in college, and we were like, Pittsburgh or Virginia Beach. So ended up coming to Virginia Beach, and she was a teaching degree. So within 3 days, she got 7 offers for a job, and my job with 7-Eleven was here. So we ended up.
It is so funny. I randomly in my algorithm on Instagram, it was.
Zach's face was just amazing. Like, what?
Yeah. So I'm like I'm just scrolling, and the whole thing was, how many times can I randomly pick a spot in Virginia Beach on Google Maps and find a 7-Eleven? Dude, and they did it like 7 times in a row. Like Virginia Beach has the most 7-Elevens.
Well, the Southland Corporation headquarters are right off in Hampton. So that's why this was such a big area for 7-Eleven. And, back then they still owned all the stores. Then they went into a franchise model where they figured out that it was very expensive. So now most of the stores in Hampton Roads are owned by operators, which were like the management consultants that I was supposed to be. Like the one over here, I live on Cedar Road in Great Bridge, Chesapeake. The one down the street is owned by my old manager that was above me as a management consultant.
Interesting.
So she bought
the one across from Publix?
No, not the little one, the big one across from Aldi's or whatever, that down the street a little bit further.
Okay.
No, I don't know who owns the one over there, but I think they're about 60-40 now, corporate versus franchise owned, but it was a big shift back then, but it didn't matter.
You know what's weird about 7-Eleven is it seems like a lot of them are closing.
Really?
Like I've seen 2 or 3 recently. I don't drive that much, but in my like kind of like roundabout, like I just see that like they're turning into something else. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting.
And it might be because of the potential individual ownership. Not everybody's meant to be a business owner. So, I was there for a year too long, but I was in some of those, regional success meetings and stuff where they talk about numbers and profitability and everything else. And it was a big deal where the corporate had to teach and bring consultants and stuff because the managers and they weren't business people. You worked up. So you're talking potentially people with no education that are hard workers, fantastic operators, great heart people with great work habits, but doesn't mean that they were great business people. And once you think that you can run everything, once everything's on you, things change because it's a different. I've said this so many times. There's a lot of difference when you sign the back of the check versus when you sign the front of the check, and your decision making abilities change. So a lot of them will not know how to properly run a business. So not because they're fantastic people. I mean, the people that I worked with even back then, they were great. It's just I think that's the what happened to some of those, Zach.
That's a great line. I never heard that before, but I like that.
It's, dude, I do speaking and it's people do not understand. You don't know what it's like. You have no idea. It's the hardest thing to teach when it comes to entrepreneurship, startups, business is that the guts, the crazy, the insane that you have to be in order to live that lifestyle. It's not for the weary, it's not for the weak, because it takes everything. It takes everything to know that every 2 weeks you got to find a way to pay your people, and they sign the back of the check. You're the only guy that signs the front of the check, and it's the weight of that it can be crushing.
I remember this is I don't know 2014, 15, 16 timeframe. Eric J. Olson, who we all know, he started at Hatch, and we had for 6 months. And I really feel like that number is correct. Like we were talking about his first employee, and he's like, I think I'm ready. And it was like this back and forth. And to see where he is now at 50, 60 employees, whatever it is, it's really cool to see because I lived that with him, those conversations. And I remember he was doing okay and he could afford it, but it was just it's such that first person is so important. And it's just crazy because I think it's really easy for people to Monday morning quarterback and say, let's hire and do this. And it's
put your everything behind it and know that everything's on the line. I mean, that's
because now that employee that employee needs to be making you 4x probably to make sense.
Yeah. I mean, and the problem in today's world is, consistency and being able to as a CEO, as a business owner, your mindset is completely different. You can't be the person that's in the weeds because you're never going to be able to scale. And that's the one thing that I admire about Eric is that, going from where we knew him back then, you and I 15 years ago, to growth into that business ownership. And then if you remember, I mean, you were part of the story when he switched from, project to more management of clients and digital marketing and everything. That was a big, scary thing because you're talking about potentially, getting rid of some of the revenue, but you have to cut some trees to allow for others to grow in potentially even bigger, which has happened. But all those things are, Sleepless nights, I can tell you.
Yeah, that and the fact that it's easy to do the easy things, and dude, founders will just keep doing the easy stuff as opposed to swallowing the.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I started Squire, as my, another startup, another company, I had a great team, but I went to my team and I said, I don't know how to do this as the leader. I mean, it was a smaller team, I think 4 or 5 at that point. And I was like, if you guys stick with me, if you give me time, let me learn, I promise I'll be the right leader for this. Because there's a difference and I worked with a coach on this, and it made such a big impact on me, difference between a practice and a business. And, I have friends that obviously in the medical field, they're practitioners. They might own an office, but if they don't do medicine, they don't get paid unless they have a whole bunch of nurses and everything else working for them. That's different, right? But in the financial field, it was a practice. People needed to talk to the advisor. So you could have your own DBA, you could be, your own business owner, but it's local. It's mostly have 1 or 2 assistants or something like that. But I was building a national impact company, and I was glad to hear my team appreciate the fact that I was vulnerable and extremely candid up front to tell them that I'm not the leader that they need. But then I bought 10 different books. I started a master's program. I made myself better to be better for them and to serve them better. But that's, again, I talked to one of my investors who I was extremely lucky to get acquainted with, and for him to support our mission. But he was like, when we look at businesses to invest, we invest in the jockey, because it's all about how the leadership is going to take the idea, the mission, and the business forward. And through conversations over the last couple of years, I'm a beginner's mind. I will be the first to tell you I don't know anything, and I can learn everything. And conversations with my investor, he was like, I wish more people didn't have as big of an ego as they do, because you can teach them, they can learn, but they're just not open to listening. And in business, and you guys know this, pivoting is extremely important. If you are so stubborn and so stuck in your ways that you cannot see either the changes in trends, economics, your product placement, go-to-market strategy, and if you're not adapting depending on what you're learning, I'm not sure how long you're going to be around. So that adaptive strategy and business is I think what you have to have the ability to do as a leader.
Yeah, that's super interesting in the sense that, because I tell founders all the time, it's like, man, you got to use vulnerability as a strength.
Absolutely.
And
it's you ask for help in that.
Oh, I mean, Zach, you know this. I mean, I've talked so many times over the last however many years, but like I stand on so many shoulders that I'm proud of that. Many people will see that as a weakness, or like, oh, you didn't do it yourself. Nobody's done it themselves. And anybody that said they did, they're full of shit. Because I can't go to where I want to go because I've never been there. I don't have the skills, the capabilities, or the experience to be where I want to be later. But there's somebody there that I can reach out to, ask for mentorship, ask for coaching, because they're at the end of the dark tunnel with the flashlight, and they can go, hey, here's a low roof, watch out, I hit my head there, or there's a pothole here, pay attention to this. We can learn from their mistakes, their experience, and get there faster. But it's going to take breaking down what we think we are today, because the skills, the abilities, the knowledge that took us to where we are today are not going to take us to tomorrow. So that's that vulnerability that you said is extremely important, because I don't think that you can move forward unless you recognize that you're not good enough for tomorrow. You have to work today to be good enough for tomorrow.
Tim, how big is the Nationals team that your daughter's part of? I mean, it's got to be close to 1,000 people.
I don't know, man. That's a great question. I know that there is just within her department, I guess, if you will. I mean, there's 9 or 10 folks, but I mean, it's just there's many layers to making all that happen.
Because you see the 9 players on the field, and you're like, oh, okay, a little bit more than that, but it's like easy. So many people.
Oh, it's a crazy machine behind it, like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just bizarre.
Because yeah, I mean, you just see these organizations and you're just like, wow, like how many people are there? Like it's just.
And then the thing that comes up with that question is, how long does it take to make a decision and actually move on it? Because that the bigger the organization, the glacier the pace. And I was talking to a couple of my friends, and they were like, what are you going to do after Squire? And I was like, I wouldn't mind working at an organization, run a department, use my skills, and not have to worry about the cash flows and everything else, and really use my knowledge. And he was like, you would die in a big organization because I'm as an entrepreneur, you move quick and you make a decision and you go and you can adjust and you can pivot and you hit your head in a wall somewhere, be like, well, that's not the door, that hurt, but let me go move somewhere else. In large organizations, I feel like there's not a lot of that. So that is an interesting thing to think about, like how big the organization can become, and then how do you make decisions to be quick enough, because today's market moves like this. I mean, it's crazy. So being able to keep up, it would be a hard thing to do, I think.
Don't you think that's a skill that people like? It's hard to work at a small business, a startup like that, because you aren't ingrained in like that like, oh, I have to do 50 things at once. Where if you work at another place, it's like, okay, like I can spend 14 days on this one paragraph.
Yes. Yeah. And who's going to ask me about it? But the other side of, and I love the fact that you said it's different. It takes a different personality to appreciate the startup, the entrepreneurship world, especially working with a startup, not starting a thing, because might as well, I put together job descriptions. It's worthless. It's going to change tomorrow, and then I'm going to add 17 more things, and you're going to figure out 8 more things that needed to be on there. So, that uncertainty, perceived uncertainty in people's minds, where they're like, "This is too fluid. I can't do this," because there are people that are extremely. They have to be I show up at 9. I do this. I go to lunch at 12. I have 45 minutes. I work. I go home at 5. And that's what they need. That kind of person is not going to ever work or be successful or happy and satisfied in the very high pace, change all the time startup entrepreneur world. It's that's the beauty and the value of the startup, is the uncertainty. But you have to be able to have the chutzpah to enjoy it. And that's why it takes the special kind of crazy.
Well, I hear, and it's funny. I hear a lot of people talk about like Elon Musk is super, super difficult to work for because he moves so fast.
And sleeps under his desk and expect you to as well. Like,
and then like people will leave because they can't handle the pressure. At SpaceX or Tesla, they go to another place and they're bored out of their mind, and they end up going right back to SpaceX or Tesla.
Well, the grass is always greener, but I think this is just a little bit of different arena for that analogy, because it's what your personality can take, and that's why when I hire people, it's funny. I was just talking, like my daughter's coming. We're meeting tomorrow to go over agreement and everything. I was trying to talk her out of it. I was like, I am hard to work for. This is so quickly moving. Like in my interviews, I try to talk people out of working for us, because the more dark and crazy I can paint the picture, and they're like, put me in, coach, the better. Because then it's not a surprise 3 months later where I'm like, we're doing 27 things. You're on 14 of them. Where are they? And for them to be okay and really thrive in that kind of environment. A lot of people will just die and go into, and that similar thing happens when you try to promote people past their capabilities. I've lost a great person on my team because of that, and it was just a pretty hard lesson to learn. But it's I learned about it afterwards, read about it, and have to be more careful.
Yeah, I have similar conversations with folks when I bring them on the team. I'm like, hey, I am not an easy person to work for, and dude, we move really, really fast. And if you're looking for like same thing every day, that you could, it's just like, it doesn't work like that in this world.
I gotta say the other side of that, working with a coach, we worked on like, what are my primary values, right? Because everything, and we know Simon Sinek, everything has to come from a why. And Squire is absolutely a passion project. I walked away, and Zach knows this. I was top 100 in the country on the, financial planning, insurance, investments and stuff, and doing really, really well. And then I just felt this terrible, overwhelming call to build something that's past just that, because I felt like I couldn't reach and I couldn't impact as much as I wanted to and I should. So it was definitely a big jump, but it's something that, again, not everybody has the ability to do, and we're doing something great. So the right person is going to see and drive with the mission, and that's the one thing that I'm extremely proud of, is everybody that's on our team joined because of the mission. But then the second part of that is my number one value is time. Like, I'm from Croatia. I love my country. My mom is still there. I lost my dad, my gosh, 11 years ago. And that was a terrible thing. I was on the phone when he had a heart attack, and, having to fly there. It's hard. So for me, time, I want to be able to do what I do wherever, whenever, however I want, and still have the same impact. So being in that, surgery kind of position with the financial planning and wealth management firm, I had to be at the office. I had to sit down with people at a certain time, so many hours a day. And it was not a scalable thing. And I wasn't making enough impact, but also I didn't have as much time as I wanted to. So when I hire people, that's another thing that people can't deal with, is like most of our people are virtual, California, tech, all over the place. I'm like, if you work from 6 to 2, I don't care. If you work from 2 to 8, I don't care. I'm mission specific. Most big places won't let you do that. You have to clock in, you got to clock out, you got to lunch, everything like I said before. But the right person will take that and run with it and love it, because they know that they can control their time, their family, their working hours, their, lunches, their everything, but they'll get the job done. And most of the time, they'll probably do more in less time if there's, the kind of the right person, than the person will 8 hours where they have to sit there from 9 to 5. So, it's a hard thing to truly find right off the bat. But like I said, like you said, Tim, if I'm pushing somebody away in our recruiting and hiring process, and teaching them how we really think, because I'm Croatian and we work to live, and that's a hard thing for people to understand. So my way of doing things is just a little bit different than a lot of companies out there. So a lot of people, when we're hiring them, they're like, "What are days off?" I'm like, "Take what you need. What are your, deal on the holidays?" And I'm like, just do work. If you want to take a week off, take a week off. Just make sure, stuff's covered. Just be a part of the mission. We're on the same bus. We're going to the same place. Just get stuff done. I don't care if you do it 3 hours a day or 9 hours a day. It's up to you. So, but the right person is going to do even a better job in less time.
And you can tell if they're, like generally how much they're putting into it. It's not hard to figure out.
And Zach knows, everything about EO and stuff. And one of the things that I took away from EO was the Entrepreneurs Organization. One of the speakers, Jack Daly, his biggest thing was hire slowly, fire quickly. Especially with him in our situations, when you're in the startup entrepreneurship world, time is not a friend, because cash flow, payroll, revenue, growth, all that stuff is very time specific. And that's what people, you send them an invoice and you're like, I already made plans for this, so please pay me on time. They don't understand how, being a small business, it's every check matters. But when it comes to finding the right person, I have been burnt where people are like, yeah, I'll do everything and great. And then they end up not doing what they said or being capable as they said they were. So, hire slowly, fire quickly, because it's expensive.
I don't know how companies do like net 90, net 120. I've seen some. I'm like, how? Like, what?
No, dude. Net 30. I'm like, nope. Net 15.
No,
and pay me next week. Actually,
no prepay. Like,
dude, like I don't understand. Like, how can you? I mean, that just means you either bankroll stuff, or like I have a friend who owns a business, and they do factoring. So they have a company that gives them percentages to cover all the their accounts receivable that they have, and they're all like a 30, 60, or 90 day. So that way they can keep operations and pay stuff, and then there's a small fee, usually 1.5%, 2%, or 3%, depending on the company, that can give you pretty much a loan based on your AR, and then you pay it back as the AR comes in. Because it's impossible to, I don't know how it would work if it's a net 90, net 60 even. That's a lot of time in a small business.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the things that we learned in business school, and I can only, assuming that everything is true, a lot of people are like, hey, Costco makes all their money on membership fees because that's just gravy that comes in. But
is that true? That's
so what we learned at business school is Costco has been able to negotiate the terms on invoicing so much. So if they can do a net 45, net 60, or 90, they're able to turn that inventory in a day.
Yes.
And they can turn it over so fast, that they've already they're making so much money before they even have to even pay those invoices. That
I would imagine they sell out of most things too, right? Because aren't stores like Costco and Sam's Club? I'm a Sam's Club member because it's closer, right? But I would imagine, it seems like they're just spinning through stuff there, and if it doesn't move, they're like, "Oh, let me put the yellow ticket on it."
Absolutely,
and
they get rid of it at cost or less. Absolutely, but that's just a good business model that they've done forever. The one business model that amazes me and so freaking genius is like Paychex, ADP, those places. You know how they make money? They don't care about the fees and people and everything else. They make money on the spread of interest of when they draw the payroll and the tax.
Right.
They get to keep it 1, 2, 3 days, depending on when it's drawn. That fractional interest on billions and billions of dollars in that escrow account, they get to keep. The business doesn't get it. The employees don't get it. Nobody gets it. So you're talking stupid amounts of just easy money that they're not doing anything wrong. They're just using that 1, 2, 3 day carry. And Starbucks, amazing. They're one of the biggest banks in the United States of America by deposit, because who doesn't have a Starbucks app? And you have $25 sitting there, and you might not go for a week, and then you immediately load it back up. They're not giving us anything for that money. The fact that they have so much in deposit, and that 0.5%, 1%, 2% that they make on those deposits is ridiculous amounts of money that cost them nothing. So it's a pretty amazing little thing.
Do you have a Starbucks app, Tim? I could see.
Well, yeah. And as I'm thinking about it, I have a ton of money that's sitting on it. Every time I get a gift card for speaking or something,
gift cards. 30% of gift cards are never used.
Yeah,
because half the time they're forgotten or whatever. I've done that. So now, as soon as I get one, I'm like, because I'll forget it somewhere, and it'll be in a drawer for 3 years.
One of my clients, he has, I think it's like a spreadsheet, and he puts a sticky note on it saying the date and the amount, the expiration date, so that it doesn't happen. So one time he was like, "Oh, we got to go to lunch. This expires tomorrow."
We know where we're going.
Man, yeah. Well, it's the same deal with furniture stores, man. With all the financing stuff, they don't care about the, they don't make money on the sale of the furniture. It's just
they do a little bit. And same. We have a lot of relationship with auto dealers. Auto dealerships, their business model is service supports the operations most of the place. If you got a good dealership, and the sales are just extra, it's just gravy, because the service is your consistency. And during COVID, the dealerships I went to visit, they were making 60% on service, the service department.
So are you telling me that when I bought my Jeep, that negotiation, I'm actually the one who got screwed?
It's not a screwed. It's just, you got a good deal on the purchase and stuff, and then they hope that you bring it in. Why do you think they do the 1 year, 2 year free oil change?
I get it forever. I get it forever.
Yeah,
because you think it's such a great give, but
when
you're
have
there,
to
go back, and then they're like, "Oh, you need new tires, and you need this, and you need to, your A level, or this thing and this thing is $200, $300, $500." But that's their loss leader. It's fantastic because they want you back on the platform. And then if it's 3-4 years in your car, they're like, "Oh, by the way, we got a loaner for you. Here's a new car that we just got.
Give you a little
Here's
taste."
because you don't want to go. Sucks going back to your stinky car afterwards. Not that your car is stinky per se, but But again, just a great business model.
It's just a standard Jeep Wrangler. What are you driving these days? I feel like last time I saw you were in a convertible.
Just a car. Mm-hmm. There's a convertible story. All right, there's a story. So I wanted a motorcycle, and Melissa was like, "I will divorce you if you get a motorcycle." And there's a big story behind it because her dad in West Virginia is a big Harley. Always had a Harley. He was in a Harley accident. Then my brother-in-law decided to buy a Harley. He said he rode motorcycles. I don't think he ever has. Almost killed himself. First day in front of the house. My wife Melissa was there. Everybody was there. They took the Harley off the trailer, and he ran it into a neighbor's building and busted a bean with his head and almost died. Like it's just. And then his brother, 6 months later, bought a Harley and driving West Virginia roads, drove big left turn, car coming the other way, head-on collision, and lost a leg from a knee down. So not great experiences with bikes. So I was like, well, how about a convertible? She said, yes. The next day, I bought a convertible because, dude, we live in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk area, like 8-9 months out of the year. I have my top down, and for dates and enjoyment, and I drive a lot.
True story.
So, like, I want to have a nice car because I spend a lot of time in it. Like for me, and I don't know how you guys are, but Tim, you do speaking as well. Like I've been stuck just this year 5 times overnight on airports, airplanes.
Oh, dude, it's so bad
and terrible. So my deal is 8 hours of drive or less. I'm driving because I'll schedule meetings. I'll listen to podcasts and stuff. I can control everything about it. I have a nice car. I can listen to music. I can do whatever, and time passes. But I don't have to worry about, because 2 times this year it has cost me not being able to be present. One time I wasn't able to speak because they couldn't get me to the location. I was supposed to the day earlier until the next day nighttime, which was the second day of the conference.
Dude, it's a crapshoot, man. And like with us, do we pay the money to get lounge access? And like we will have extended long layovers based on what lounges airport has, so that we know that if we're going to sit there, we can work in the lounge, we can eat, and because
so it's free food. It's free food.
Oh yeah, free drinks. Oh yeah, I have a Centurion. We have United.
I can't remember. I used to do the Delta Sky Club, maybe. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember there being.
They're all
food.
the same. Oh, there's good food, and like they'll have like 4 or 5 bourbons and things and drinks that are free, and then everything else you can pay for. But it's just like you, Tim. I've been stuck many times, and that's the best. That's really good money spent to have that access.
Is it real silverware or is it like plastic?
Yeah. No, it's real. Dude, I don't know if you've flown lately, but we were in England and Croatia, and now they're doing wooden spoon and knife. There is nothing worse than putting your tongue on a wooden freaking fork. Like,
dude, it gives me the chills to hear you talk.
No, like it's the worst. Like I almost was like, can I just use my hands? Like I don't want to do this. It gives you like the heebie-jeebies. It is awful. I'd rather do plastic. It's at least like slick rather than wooden, man. It's awful. It's so bad. But yeah,
to me, like I'm all about the turtles and I know the straws, but like people walk around with them straws. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like,
yeah,
I don't think I ever had a wooden spoon to my tongue though.
It's a terrible. As you are thinking, as bad as it is, it's bad.
Dude, it takes me back to elementary school when you had the ice cream cups and you had to eat them with the
the little wooden spoon. Yeah,
but that was like just like that's like the end of a popsicle.
Yes, yeah.
I miss those pizzas. Terrible. I wonder if they were actually good. Probably not. Cafeteria pizza. Yeah, that was.
I mean, didn't Jeremy? Not Jeremy. What's his name? The British guy. I was like. They had pizza as having all the vegetable servings for the day as on the menu. What was it? Jamie something that came to the United States and did like all the stuff about school food. And seriously, they had it listed as pizza, like so many servings of vegetables because of the tomato sauce. And
That's right.
Like, what the heck, dude? It was unbelievable. So yeah,
I know what you're talking about now. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's hilarious.
So what is Squire?
Oh yeah, okay. I think I wrote everything down. So it's like I said, it's
I'm like, this is your opportunity. You're like, well, I don't know. Like, hey,
I already did all this shit. No, it's so you'll find. I think you'll find this funny. So back in the day, I don't do them anymore, but you would go to networking events and chamber and all that stuff. And now I go to higher, like CBDA or chamber. That's still great. But then people ask you, like, what do you do? I'm like, can I just have a index card, just hand it to you, like, here, read this, and then we can talk about everything else. And then you turn to another person, and they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, here's my index card. I'm like, that should be something, because you end up being like, well, this is what we do, and then again, this is what we do. But
I hate that question. Do you want me to read it for you? Since you clearly
They span several markets and share a common need for better financial literacy.
Sure. How do we mute
beyond content delivery? Squire emphasizes a supportive community oriented approach. The company's mission is to help families. But
I feel like our connection is bad.
Who's your target market with Squire?
Again, Squire. It's a funny name, right? Everybody's like, all right, what's the name? So when I would teach, I was a financial professional. I am a financial professional for 23 years. And seeing it across from all kinds of people, great, educated, smart, and successful. And I would ask them just general financial questions. And most of the time they had no idea what I was talking about. So like, simple math interest, compound math interest, buying cars, houses, mortgages, kids, insurance, all that stuff. And they just didn't know much. So I started doing research on what's available out there when it comes to the true financial wellness, financial literacy that's not connected to a product or a company, because banks will say they haven't, but all they're doing is teaching you how to use their loans, how to use their credit cards, how to use their car loans and things like that. So it's very pointed towards a specific outcome that they want for you to engage with them, which is use their products. So I found that there was just a need for something that's a true empowerment tool. So we started building curriculum for a financial literacy wellness platform that was really designed to be as a part of a benefit for employees of companies that want to offer it for their employees by the employer. And it's self-study, no sale, no product, no data, no spam. It's not a Trojan horse like some companies out there. So we found a pretty good success there. But the reason we call it Squire is because when I teach, we're here in Hampton Roads, obviously with the Navy SEAL teams and EOD and all the stuff. I would teach some of those teams. And I would always teach, in medieval times, you knew who had the most money. They had a big old castle. But then what did they have around the castle to protect from anybody coming in and stealing and looting everything? They had a big old moat. Well, today we have the castle. It's our houses, our cars, our incomes, our savings, our all the things. But then the moat, little gecko tells us 15 minutes saves us 15% or more. So all the things of moat have been forgotten or sold on price. So Squire, and I wish I would have come up with a name, but one of my team members did. If you ever thought about naming a company or a book, it's not as easy as you might think.
It's the worst exercise ever.
It's terrible. But Squire is the little person, the person that prepares the night for battle back in medieval times. So the idea is we prepare people for financial battle of life. And so we really play in three lanes. We started off as an employee benefit, got really good success, and then got lucky. Air Force representatives saw it, so we won a government contract with the Air Force. We rebuilt all of Air Force's, they're called terminal learning objectives set by the Senate for airmen and women to learn. So after basic, first promotion, first post, first deployment, first child, wedding, divorce, promote, all the things that have to do with the life of an airman and women. We just finished that work in October last year, which was awesome. And then the feedback was, this is fantastic. I wish I would have known this stuff 20 years ago. So I'm a nerd, went to a conference for higher ed. Because I was like, how cool would it be for, 10, like our kids to know this stuff coming out of school and that they have a place that they can learn it without somebody trying to sell them something. So I interviewed about 20 presidents, did a viability study, and it was an overwhelming, oh my gosh, yes, this would be amazing. It is a strategic conversation on campuses. A lot of kids are not either going or dropping out because of money, because of stress, because of not understanding, the value. And then, you had Gary V's and Musk's and everybody telling you that you don't even need to go to college because it's worthless and you can go to, whatever value city and buy stuff and then sell it for 10 cents more and you're making money. Like that's the story that's being sold out there. So yeah, we had 4 presidents that agreed to be on a development committee for the product for higher ed. And we launched that last year. We're about 40 schools now, and we just got picked. We're the only ones to have the ability to work with the schools of independent schools and colleges, which is 33 states, 920 schools represented. So we just signed that agreement. The announcement should be coming out next week. So it's just been, it's really a work of passion because I built it with 3 missions and motives behind it. Number 1 is put financial literacy in as many hands as possible, because people need to know how to make decisions based on knowledge and what's right for them rather than somebody selling them something. And that's the second motive behind it, was teaching people how to buy rather than being sold, because most financial products are sold. And then there's a lot of potential for buyer's remorse later and wondering if somebody's doing something for you or for them, and you find out potentially too late, and it's cost you quite a bit. And then the third one is something that we're still improving, is education without implementation is worthless. So really taking people into a place where we're teaching them, but also empowering them to make decisions and doing things for their household. So the school thing has been amazing. It's just, I gotta say, it was a big risk. It was not easy, but I'm proud of what the feedback has been, the impact that we've been able to make. And our new goal is impact 1 million lives by 2028, which is...
That's amazing. I mean, why they don't teach this stuff to kids at a younger age is it's criminal.
Well, so, it's funny to say that. So again, I'm a nerd. So we tested, when we were building Squire, we tested with middle school, high school, college, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. I had a bunch of people in my office and just kind of did, again, I work off of my Remarkable, and I have my, 20 questions. I brought food and drinks and everything else. And what I found is very interesting. Middle school, high school could not care less, because it's a chore. You're not paying bills. You don't have credit. You don't have a car payment. You don't have insurance. You're not buying a house. You're not having kids, hopefully. All the things that you're learning don't matter. So if you start that way too early, then you're putting a negative connotation in the person's mind, in the kid's mind, that they had to do something. It was homework. It was something that didn't matter, but they had to learn anyway. So just like, trig or any other things that 90% of us are never going to use, you have to do it. How do you feel about trigonometry today? Not really the topic that I care to talk about. So
know anything about.
Or know anything about.
Yeah.
But it puts this negative connotation on the topic, which then can be very negatively impacting their life and ability to learn and listen. Right?
Well,
now, 10% gave a shit, and that was just because who their parents were. It was a banker, financial advisor, attorney. The conversation at dinner table was okay. It was totally fine. It wasn't taboo. It wasn't a deterrent. It wasn't a pain. It was a tool. Those are the 10% that did and cared. And it just depends on the dinner table. College, that's when it started making a lot of sense, because you got credit, you potentially have a car, you have to, pay some bills, you gotta start planning stuff. So that's where it matters. The most interesting were the late 30s and 40s. Embarrassed, feel like they're behind, they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to ask. They feel like if they ask, they're going to look stupid, they're going to look ignorant, and they tend to put their head in the sand. Which then we come in, no need to talk to advisor, no need to buy anything, no need to do anything. Learn at your place. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to show up at, for Dave Ramsey or something on a Saturday, at the school or church, and tell people that you need help. So we fill that void of your space, your freedom, your ability to learn whenever you want, whenever it's yours. And it walks with you. And that's the big difference between some of the plans out there. Like, when you show up for a classroom thing, you walk out and life hits you in the face. And then 6 months later, you might be buying a house, a car, you found out you're pregnant, you need a new job, you need something. You don't remember what you learned 6 months ago, but there's nothing that walks with you that's going to empower you to make that right decision. We walk with them. We're there the whole time. So it's been a lot of learning, but a lot of just amazing feedback and amazing impact.
Well, I'm really super bullish on the Invest America Act, where I don't know if you've heard about this act, but every child that is born in America, they'll get $1,000 deposited into like an index fund spread across the 500 best performing companies in the United States, and just the compounding effect that those kids will receive, is just what a great way for them to learn about just some of the fundamentals about this is huge.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know about that. I just think about like, what is it? 75, 80% of people live paycheck to paycheck. You hear about the student loans and craziness behind that. And it's just, there's got to be a way to teach people this stuff that's not homework. From
that's why I'm like, man, with Invest America, man, it's just like they can watch this stuff grow over time.
Right, because then they see how it goes, and then it's exciting.
But the thing about that's just one little piece, right? That's an account.
Right.
But you still got budget, you got house, you got kids, you got insurance, you got liability, it's got risk, you got business, you got all the stuff that's hanging over your head.
Marathon. Yeah.
And that's exactly, it never ends. But
there's a lot of people from a business perspective that think that way too, right? The 30s to 40s, like, oh, my business isn't where.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, man, with like at the risk of sounding like the old guy, like we're,
old
like
guys.
Well, and in the sense of like we have daughters that graduated from college. This is like, now's the time, man. $100 a month, man. Like the compounding effect on that is huge.
We did that with Maya, man. I mean, my kids have, we bought small cash value policies, $2,000 a year for each when they were born, because that's what Melissa's parents did when she was born. And then we, with Maya, we set up a Roth IRA, a cash value policy and a mutual fund. And I split whatever she puts in, I put in half. So if she puts in 100, I put in 100. If she puts in 200, I put 200. When she was little, we have these, I don't have one to show you, but it's a plastic piggy bank, and it's got 4 sections. So I give that to people usually. And it says, save, donate, invest, and spend. And as she was earning, and my twins are earning, their money, I would give them always some cash. And I was like, hey, here's dollar bills. Choose how you want to separate that, and then teach them what that means and how it works. And every, November, December, we would go and take her donate money. I would, again, Melissa and I would match it. I would go, buy stuff for the Giving Tree at the church or, donate somewhere, but she had to do it. So just teaching, first off, how lucky we are. Second, that there is value to money besides just yourself, but that you always have to take care of yourself, because today Daniel should take care of the future Daniel. And teaching my son especially, a dollar is not just a dollar. A dollar is what a dollar could be. So every decision that you're making, whether it's shoes, AirPods, I don't know, my son loves the swords and everything. He's a dude. So I'm like, you're spending money on stuff that's not a dollar. Like, you just spent $27 on this. That can be $3,000 in 20 years. Like, just teaching them to think of decisions. Every decision has a consequence to it. You either do this or that. You always have to look at both. You cannot look at one-dimensional thinking when it comes to making those decisions, because every action has a reaction, right? Dude, so you got to know how to do that.
It's a bizarre conversation, man, and we can go on forever. And it's just like trying to. And I'm also like reading in the process in the middle of Die with Zero, and that's, so it's just like, man, a battle, future, then Die with Zero.
Well, this is the thing that I'll tell you. I came to America, right? I'm not from here. I learned the American system. I'm a big reader like you guys. So learning about the Rockefellers and how truly you can build generational wealth. And I am planning to die with zero, but I have a bin flip, big MF life insurance policy that's in a trust that will replace everything that I spend, and my kids get tax-free. So I'm using 10 cents on a dollar to provide an asset that's going to be there for my kids. And then in Melissa and I's will and trust, we also have stipulations that any kids that are born, life insurance is purchased in the trust so that we continue that trend. It's very simple, but it's just like I'm very much a student of my craft. So, learning what the most successful people have done, you can figure all that stuff out. Nobody has to tell you. You can read. But they're things that have been around forever. I'm like, I love dying with zero because I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, but I also want to make sure that my family is taken care of afterwards. So there's a way to do that.
Very cool.
I'm gonna check out that book. But before then,
really, it's a great read, man. To sum it up, man, like the thing that really stood out to me so far, and again, I'm only halfway through it, is the fact like if you can still give to family and charities and all that kind of stuff. But Zach, if you were to die with $300,000 in your account, and if you were making $100,000 a year, you just worked 3 years for free.
Or you were really, really nice to somebody else.
Well, the good news is I have a Hoopla account with my library card from the Silver Library, and I just download that bad boy for free. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Silver.
I'm gonna die with the free audiobook. Okay, so we end almost every show with a certain question, Mr. Danijel Velicki, as you
nailed it.
What is the food of this region, or like what is like your go-to place to get a meal?
Here? Oh my goodness. So I see a therapist and I take shots against my problem with sushi. On a regular basis. I'm like Jeremy Piven. I'm this far away from mercury poisoning probably. So any sushi place is fantastic. I specifically love Volcano in Norfolk because it's all you can eat sushi, which goes to my problem with my therapist. So that's great. But the real place, like Melissa and I just had our 24-year anniversary, and Aldo's is probably my favorite Italian place, and service and location and atmosphere and everything. Like we've been going there for 20 plus years, and it's just amazing. So those are probably two places. One small, and you probably know this, Zach, right on the corner by Town Bank, the little bookstore that has a little shop in there. What
the Leaping Lizard?
Called? Is that what it's called? It's Brian owns it. Great, the best soups in the freaking area. Thursday they have a
good cookie back in the day.
Yes, yeah. But dude, that's my like little hidden pleasure because every Thursday he makes this chicken dumpling soup that's out of this freaking world, and I have to go there. So like we're 12:05. Like I'm like, guys, it's Thursday. You're killing my soup time.
Well,
I want to say it's Sleeping Lizard because I'm just looking at it.
I think it's Sleeping Lizard.
It's right across from Grain. Yeah, Lizard Cafe. There we go. Lizard Cafe.
Is he a soup Nazi?
He could be, but he's not. I feel like he's like a bad weekend away from that. But because I've seen him on like crazy busy days, and he might throw freaking something at somebody, but I haven't seen him do that. But he's
my understanding is that Seinfeld's story is a real story.
Yes,
like there was a real guy that was
an actual guy. Yeah, but yeah, that's probably my little hidden secret that I just learned about a couple years ago, and I'm like, dude, that place is awesome.
We'll have to check it out again. I haven't been there in a while.
Check it out again.
Well, DV, appreciate your time. This has been lovely.
This has been all over the place. People are going to be like, what did they talk about?
That's what makes it great.
Exactly. I love that because, like, you go on a podcast and people are like,
no, well, that's why we don't have questions that we don't. People are like, what are the questions you're going to ask? We don't know what questions we're going to ask. Yeah. This just goes wherever it goes.
If you got good energy and stuff, it just happens.
That's right.
Just let it happen.
All right, brother. Good to see you. See you soon.
Always. Peace. We got to do some drinks or Lizard Cafe soup one day.
The drinking sounds good.
I appreciate that. Hey, Tim, it's great. Thank you for today. This was awesome.